Okay, we're in volume 6 of the Bible story. And my book are blue. All 10 of the books are blue. This one has Esther on the front. And you will notice I put my painting up. I got finished with it, and it's the widow with the oil, just like the one I said I was going to do. So there it is, my version. It's a little blurry, but I like that style. And yes, I painted it. Okay, we are in part 4, story 3, Tried and True. Good news spread about the troubles that had come to Job. Tongues started wagging all over the place. Many found the story hard to believe, for Job had been such a rich man and so highly respected by everybody. If he was indeed suffering as much as was reported, then there must be a reason. Surely he must have done something very wicked, and God was punishing him. For far and near his friends came to him, and they were shocked by what they saw. Indeed, Job was so changed that they could hardly recognize him. Three of his friends were Eliphaz, Eliphaz the Temanite, Belgad the Shuhite, I say Shuhite, 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 and Zophar, Zophar, Zophar the Amalekite, Amalekite, Naamatite, Naalakite. Okay. These words are hard. When they saw him, they were so upset that they tore their clothes and sprinkled dust on their heads. Then they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spoke a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great. That was it. What a week that was. As the hours passed slowly by, not a sound was heard but the moans of a sick man. When at last Job spoke, it was to say, I wish I had never been born. How he suffered. Why don't you die? Why didn't I die at my birth? He cried. For now should I have lain still and have been quiet. I should have slept. Then had I been at rest. In other words, if he died, he wouldn't be in such pain. And then Scott paused. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the worry be at rest. In other words, he never mind, that was King James. Alright, let me go. I'll get back. Rest, what? All he wanted now. Rest from his troubles, rest from his suffering. If only the pain would stop, he could sleep. He even wished that he could die. Then his 3 friends began to talk, but they didn't bring him much comfort. They were sure he must be a very great sinner, and they begged him to make things right with God. Happy is the man whom God corrects, says Eliphaz. Therefore, despite not the chastising of the Almighty, Bildad said that maybe all his troubles had become because Job's children had sinned too. He too was certain that the suffering was a sign that God had been offended. God will not cast away a perfect man, he said, neither will he help the evildoers. It, it never occurred to him or to any of the other friends that this suffering might be a test of Job's faith, or that Satan, not God, was the cause of all the evil that had come to him. Meanwhile, Job continued to declare his innocence. Once, addressing God, he said, Thou knowest what I am. Thou knowest that I am not wicked. Then to his friends, he boldly declared, Though he slay me, yet will I trust him. In other words, no matter how bad it is, I'm still going to trust God. My friends scorn me, he cried, but mine eyes poureth out tears unto God. So he's crying for his innocence and, proclaiming it. No, he would not give up his faith in God's love and goodness. The righteous also shall hold on his way, he said, and he that hath clean hands shall be stronger and stronger. How brave of him to speak like this when he felt so weak. Oh yes, he still wondered why it had to have had all happened. Often he thought about the days when he had been rich and powerful and respected, when the Almighty was yet with me, when my children were about me, when I washed my step with butter, washed my steps with butter, and the rock poured out rivers of oil, when, a pause, the young men saw me and hid themselves, and the aged rose and stood up. Okay, sometimes the King James verses are hard to understand. Now it seems to him that God, for some reason, had forsaken him. He had stripped me of my glory and taken the crown from my head, he said. He has destroyed me on every side, and I am gone. And he counts me as one of his enemies. But even so, he loved God still, and was sure someday all would come out right. I know that my Redeemer liveth, he told his friend and his friends, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. And though after my skin worms destroy my body, I yet in my flesh shall I see God, whom I shall see for myself and not another. marvelous faith. You could think his three friends would have agreed that he must be right. But no, back came Eliphaz, and then it's got a picture of his friends and him with the sword up here at the top. Oh, yeah. And it's the book, not a camera, like I keep saying. The book, my set of books have the printing offset. But no, back came Eliphaz with the same old charge. Is not your wickedness great? Then he taunted the poor sick man by saying, Is it any pleasure to the Almighty that you are righteous? Or is it gain to him that you make your way perfect? Return to the Almighty, he urged, and put away iniquity. I seem like I'm going through the same thing. Okay, let's get back to the story. I have not gone back from the commandment of his lips, retorted Job. I have esteemed the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. He knows the way that I take when he has tried me. He has tried me, and I shall come forth as gold. In other words, he's doing all this, and I'm going to show him that I am worth more than pure gold. In a wonderful defense in his way of life and his striving to do the will of God the best he knew how, he said, If I have walked with vanity, and this is condensed, if I have walked with vanity, if any blot had cleaved to my hands, if I did despise the cause of my despise the cause of my manservant, if I had made gold my hope, if I rejoiced because my wealth was great, if I rejoiced at the destruction of him that hateth me, if I cover my transgressions, then let me be weighed in an even balance, that God may know my integrity. If he had done wrong, it was not on purpose, and he was sure God was too just to punish him unfairly. Remember, this all happened thousands of years ago. Job had no Bible to guide him, for no part of it had been written. There is no church pastor to visit him and cheer his heart, for the church did not exist as we know it today. He stood alone with God and the right. What faith! What courage! No wonder God reckoned him among his most loved, his most loyal and noble champions. And then it has an illustration of an angel with the sword and the scales weighing. Alright, and guess what? That is part 4, story 3. So it's break. So I'm going to take a break and got my lovely widow with the jars on the wall. And I'll see you in a bit.